Hello world, welcome to my channel. This is a pretty massive project because I have a special talent that I want to share and explain and hopefully get some feedback and some interaction. It's all an open invitation. So open access, open invitation, do what you want, improve it, tell me why it doesn't work. Um, Bother me until I finally get things done and finished. That's all good, that's what I'm wanting. But yeah, what is my special talent? It's not like normal art forms. It's just the obsession with trying to have an idea, trying to squeeze any newness or oddity or something of interest, some latent potential, position myself to promote emergent properties out of things, which is all a bunch of fucking chat, isn't it? So what I'm actually doing is just trying to have as many ideas as I can. And I'm up to about 50,000 ideas that I've recorded in 15 years. And I want to now review them, critique them, improve them, analyze them, and just share them, put it on broadcast, and maybe try and make an actual master list of all the ideas I've had, because even I don't know anymore. It could be random comedy, it could be anything, architecture, clothing, anime, films, you name it. If I've interacted with it, I've probably had an idea about it. It's partially because I've got a neurological disorder, something like ADHD meets OCD. They're not quite sure. Words like low latent inhibition and pareidolia and creative ideation, these things are symptoms of my experience. But I also had a unique upbringing, and there's a couple of quirks to myself, which you are going to have to indulge if you want to get to the juicy nuggets. So, one of them is my access and resources is quite lower. So I'm going to have to be informal with my onesies, and this is the format, so don't expect it to get any better. You do need to adjust your expectations on consistency and even content. You need to understand the context of my game and why I have so many ideas, on average 9 a day, which is a lot. As far as I can tell, because very few other people I know just hit record for every idea. Like for me, even a spelling mistake can become a whole new world, a whole new character, a whole new species. It just takes over. I can't even walk down the street sometimes. This is where it's a disability, because I can't sleep. Every time I blink, I see things. And I just kind of want to share some of the benefits of that, because it's not always negative, it's not always overwhelming. And even then, there's ways to channel it. And so I want to get that out there. I'm also trying to tackle the last vestiges of shyness and anxiety. I don't like being on camera, and I don't like making anyone else feel bad, but this is a thing I can do. And there's plenty of other things that I can't do because I do this so well. And that's something I want people to understand as well. It doesn't take much smarts, it doesn't take much authority or education. I figured out guitar purely through trial and error. I accidentally came up with a music method, which I'm going to share. And all these other things that I'm able to do somehow. It's just me working the problem because I can't learn the normal way. It's a learning disruption and disability in a sense. And so I can't assume anything. I have to explore it through trial and error and make as many mistakes as possible. But also it's a way of life for me, a way to reclaim my hope and sensitivity. And I need to do that through exploring comedy and savagery and all the other things. Every avenue of access of thought, including exploring counterpoint, so I can feel things again. Because I got quite shut down there at some point because I was being very heavily defeated by what I'm going through. That's going to be involved, and I can't remove that, and to be honest, I wouldn't want to. So you do need to know, if you're going to engage with my videos at any point, there will be no apology if I don't telegraph, oof, this is a bit offensive, or if you are going to be sensitive, the only thing I can tell you is, honestly, I was sensitive to the point by which the world was able to impact me all the time, and I inoculated myself that. It's not a good position to be in. So it's very difficult to explain that, because I was a prescriptivist, the little like grammar Nazi. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. I had a lot of that going on, a lot of pressure. I had to learn how to reduce the stress and pressure and just be as informal as possible. But also I really, really need to deconstruct the mysticism of how do you think of this. And talent is always a problematic position, because rather than being impressed and inspired, you become intimidated. And you can tell the difference, which is one of the things I want to teach you about the games and the way I approach things, because I run at things and hit my head against them until I finally break through. You can tell the difference because you'll hesitate if I suggest you try something. I'm like, here, just hit the guitar and make random noise. You don't need to know what you're doing. And I even prove that to you, but you still won't play the game. That's fear of failure, and it's a consequence of the performance paradigm, which is not a negative thing, but it just backfires when you don't balance it. I'm way over here if the performance paradigm is over here. So I'm not surprised most people don't engage with my thing. It's not very productive, but it's very, very creative and very raw. And so I'm able to go in a million different directions, and I'm almost never in the box, let alone breaking out of the box. In fact, I struggle to be in the box. That's one of the disruptive parts of what I go through. And I just kind of want to run through all of my ideas. This is a bit of incentive. It's an open access thing. Just come and tell me, improve it, get involved. Tell me why it's bad. You can be as vitriolic as you like. I don't mind. I've got very thick skin. But apart from anything else, expect less. I'm not going to raise my standards in any regard unless I have the access to on my terms. I do feel the need to say some of those things because I'm working against a lot of ADHD nonsense that you're raised on. Don't be disruptive and don't be outspoken, etc. I just need to normalize being in front of a camera because my OCD makes me want to remember to say everything, and I'll try to record the whole the whole 50,000 ideas all in one go. That's a terrible method. So this has now been reduced down to we only had 6.5 minutes. It was 15 minutes before because I just keep ranting. I just can't stop. You are sometimes going to have to deal with that if you watch my content because I'm not able to edit. I don't have the resources for that, and I'll never get this done otherwise. And then you don't get to see some of the pretty incredible things I've come up with. It's taken me a long time to normalize being able to say, hey, does anyone else have 50,000 ideas? Is it kind of weird that I've got those? Is that a good thing? Well, it comes with a cost, and I pay it quite happily. But nonetheless, I just want to help people get some of that access, or maybe glean some of my process, because there is a lot to it, but it is actually a process. And the first idea I ever had was, how do I have more ideas? Can you train your imagination? And the answer is yes, to a problematic level, actually. It's hazardous, and overwhelming, but that's what happens to someone like me. Everyone I meet, I try to share this little thing I do, because what I do on the guitar, they're like, why are you doing that? You change your voice so much from song to song. Why? What is this? How are you playing? And I've got little techniques I want to share. So the first video will be my one finger technique, which will be very lo-fi and very low quality. I'm not aiming to impress you. I'm just aiming to share the information with you. I'm not going to select the best example. I can't afford to do that. I've got 50,000 of these things to do. So, if it's really good and you want me to improve something, send a message. Maybe then I'll refilm it with a better format. Maybe that's the best method for me. Maybe you can help me select what I should work on. So it's very collaborative. It's very collaborative. And yeah, that's all I've got to say, really. I think until I watch this and I think of something else, I'm just going to start adding little addendums, make a little playlist instead of redoing this whole thing. I really don't like cameras, so let's normalize this. It's an attention thing, I think, maybe. But anyway, I hope that you can get something of value out of this. If you know something better than me, please educate me. If you could do better than me, because I'm inconsistent, I've got a disability for a reason, then by all means. But for the most part, if you do have other kinds of learning disabilities, maybe I've got some methodology that thinks more like you and gives you more access, whereas going up against all the other things, you can't do it. Like, I struggle with those things, and I've tried to overcompensate, and I've ended up with some pretty incredible solutions to a lot of life's little problems, and I just want to share them. So this is my attempt. I will be inconsistent with posting, I'm afraid, unless you really bug me, but I do welcome you to drop into my DMs and be like, hey man, we'd love to see another video, because I just forget it exists, and I go off on a rant or a spreadsheet project that's infinite. Which I have a few of. So yeah, I'm going to cut myself off here and just kind of choose to trust the world, as one of my friends says, or chase your dreams, something like that. But it's a real pleasure to meet you, and let's do some weird stuff. Let's just get seriously awkward and cringy as I film myself listening to a 14-year-old song that was awful the first time and I can't fix it, but maybe I can. Hard to say after 14 years. So we're going to see. We're going to find out and maybe actually finish something for once. So yeah, see you out there.